you guys, it is I, your very own Amaru, and I'd like to welcome you to the Season 13 premiere of Food and the Single Guy. Oh yes, we are still going strong. Now, I hope you've had a wonderful summer. It is not over yet. We still have a couple of very sunny and summery days ahead of us, so enjoy them because I intend to do the very same. We are now going to move on to the actual meat and potatoes of this video because on this first episode of Season 13, I am going to dazzle you with yet another dish from the homeland. It is called Djar, Pesi, Moksi Alesi. Now, I'm going to pronounce it for you slowly so you can hear the words as they're supposed to, you know, as we would write it down on a piece of paper. So it is Djari, Pesi, Moksi Alesi. But because we contract the words in our native Creole language, which is basically made up of a lot of tribal African dialects and languages combined with English and Spanish and Portuguese, when we pronounce the name of this dish, the words are somewhat contracted, you know what I mean? So we don't say Djari, Pesi, Moksi Alesi when we speak, no. We say Djar, Pesi, Moksi Alesi. So Djari comes from the English word yard. You know what yard means. Pesi comes from the English word peas, and that is what this dish really is. It is field beans with rice. If you're familiar with the Jamaican dish rice and peas, that is very similar to this one. The difference being we add tenderized salted beef to ours and smoked fish. That is the actual recipe of this version of Moksi Alesi because we have a staple of a couple of staple Moksi Alesis in our country. And in my cookbook, Amaru Cooks, A Touch of Suriname Through Food and Anecdotes, I also make notice of that. So the Djar, Pesi, Moksi Alesi definitely needs to have salted beef, tenderized salted beef, and smoked fish. A lot of people like to add smoked chicken and dried shrimp. No, that is not the actual recipe. All right? So if you're familiar with rice and peas from Jamaica, this is something similar. Now, let's get back to the grammar. Because Moksi, I explained to you Djari and Pesi. Now, Moksi comes from the English word to mix, to mingle, to combine. Alesi comes from the Spanish word arroz. All right? So there you have it. The makeup of our native Creole language is a very special one. And let me tell you something. I just mentioned Jamaica. I found out that the Jamaican patois has has a lot of similarities to our native Creole language, and I'm very happy about that because we are all connected. Oh yes, but we are. Now I am going to list all the ingredients for you in the information box below this video. So without further ado, let us continue. Okay, beautiful people. So what I have here is my salted beef, and as you can see, I have purchased 3 packs. What I'm gonna do next, I'm gonna tenderize the salted beef. Now, in previous episodes of Food and the Single Guy, I have shown you how we tenderize salted beef. First, we're going to remove the beef from the plastic, of course. Then we're going to rinse the beef, and then we're going to bring this to a boil in a large pot with a generous amount of water. And then you're going to cook it until it's nice and tender. Now, you can also use a pressure cooker to tenderize your salted beef. All right? All right. So, here we go. We're going to rinse the salted beef. Just like so. So there you have it. What we're gonna do next, we're gonna add the salted beef to our pot with water, and then we're gonna bring it to a boil until it's nice and tender. Now, like I said earlier, you can also use a pressure cooker to tenderize your salted beef. All right, let's continue. And there you have it, our tenderized salted beef. As you can see, it is still steaming away nicely. I tenderized mine in the pressure cooker for about a half an hour. So next what I'm going to do, I'm going to dice these and I'm going to set them to one side for preparation. So the reason you prepare the salted beef like this before cooking the actual dish is to first remove the excess salt of the beef, and secondly, to tenderize the meat, of course. And then lastly, when you're going to cook the dish, it will still have the flavor of that salted beef because the salted beef has a distinctive flavor. So that will be added to the dish. All right? All right, so let me go ahead and continue to dice the meat. It is very tender. Now, if you're going to use the pressure cooker to tenderize your salted beef, do not overcook it, all right? A half an hour of cooking time is more than enough with a sufficient amount of water. Now, you guys, what I have here is the smoked fish, and let me remove it from the plastic so you can have a better look. Doesn't that look beautiful? So what we're going to do with this fish, we're going to debone it. We're going to remove as many, if not all, of the bones that are in this fish. All right? And in my cookbook, Amaru Cooks a Touch of Suriname Through Food and Anecdotes, there is a recipe in which I show you what the fish looks like once it is deboned. And of course, I'm going to show you on video what it looks like. And yeah, so we're going to do that next. And it smells delicious, you guys. If you've never had this before, look for it in your neck of the woods and give it a try. All right? So let me go ahead and debone this bad boy. Now, I have tried my very best to remove almost all of the bones out of this fish. But I have a kid brother who has a special gift of finding bones in fish, even though we are dealing with fish fillet right here. So I'll find out and I'll get back to you when he has had his food, whether or not he has found bones in his fish. All right? Now let us continue to the salted beef because this is what it looks like. Nicely chopped, tenderized and everything. So we are now ready to cook this dish. Okay, you guys, so what I have here are 2 packs of the field beans. In my native Creole language, we say Djar Pesi. And this is not the correct spelling. This is incorrect spelling. There should be a D in front of the J, okay? Because the word is Djari Pesi. Djari meaning yard or garden, and Pesi meaning peas. It comes from the English word peas. So this is incorrect spelling. I hate it when people misspell or mispronounce things. I cannot stand it. But anyways, we're gonna use, I think I'm gonna use 1 pack of the beans because if I use both, I think it's gonna be too much. But I'm gonna soak them both in some water. And this is the way people used to do things back in the day. They would soak the peas overnight so that they would soak up the water, and tenderizing them in a pot of water would take less time. But I'm going to soak them in some water for about an hour to maybe an hour and a half, and then I'm going to tenderize them in my pressure cooker. All right? So let us continue. So let me allow these babies to soak up all of that water before I transfer them to the pressure cooker. And keep in mind, if you tenderize beans in a pressure cooker, do not overcook them because they will turn into a puree. So a maximum of 10 to 15 minutes of pressurized cooking would be more than sufficient to, you know, tenderize these beans. All right? Okay, you guys. So as you can see, the beans have almost doubled in size. And that is what you want. That is why you soak them in the water. And it's a good thing that I didn't use both packs because that would have been too much. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and tenderize the beans in the pressure cooker. And as I said earlier, you don't want to overcook them in the pressure cooker because they will turn into a puree, and that is not what you want. Okay? You want to have some texture to the beans, and that is why you cook them for a maximum of 15 minutes. Okay? All right, so let me go ahead and do that, and then we can go ahead and put together this delicious little dish. And there we have our beans, and as you can see, they're still steaming away nicely. I ended up cooking these for about 25 minutes because they were still a little too tough for my liking. So this is what you want. You simply want them to be soft, just like this, but still with enough texture. Okay? This is what I'm talking about. So now we are ready to put together this delicious Djar Pesi Moksi Alesi. So let us continue. Okay, beautiful people. So now it is time to put together this delicious dish. Preparing for this dish takes a long time, but once you have everything ready, cooking the actual dish is fairly easy. So what I have here in my pan is a droplet of oil in which I am going to saute my onion. And we're going to allow the onions to take on some color Upon which we're gonna add the garlic. And of course, we're gonna give it a nice stir. You know how we do over here. So next we're gonna add the tomato. Baby, when I tell you, it smells delicious already. And I haven't seasoned it yet. Go figure. So after about a minute, we're gonna add the salted beef. And we're gonna give it a good stir. We're gonna coat the meat with the onion and the tomato and the garlic. And you wanna cook this on medium heat. So next what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna cover the pan and I'm gonna allow this to simmer for about 5 minutes. Alrighty then, let's have a look-see at our delicious salted beef. Ooh, honey. This is smelling good, baby. I am having a flashback to my native country, the Republic of Suriname, in South America. Ooh, baby. So next what I'm gonna add are the beans. There we go. And we're gonna give this a good stir. So this is looking good and it smells good, you guys, let me tell you. Now, I'm not gonna season this yet. I'm gonna season this after I've added the fish. Keep in mind, the salted beef still contains enough salt to, you know, flavor the entire dish. And the smoked fish also has salt in it, so you don't wanna go crazy with the salt and the rest of the seasoning, you know what I mean? So we're simply going to season it after we've added the fish and the rice and the water and all of that stuff, because you don't want it to turn into a salty mess. Alright? Alright. So next we're simply going to allow this to simmer for about 3 to 5 minutes, and then we're gonna add the rest of the ingredients. So let us return to the pot. Ooh, honey. Yeah, baby, this is looking good. Baby, when I tell you this is going to be some good food, my family is going to enjoy this. I know that for a fact. So next what we're gonna add is the coconut milk. Here we go. And we're gonna give that a nice stir also. And next we're gonna cover the pot and we're gonna allow this to simmer for about 3 minutes. Alright, you guys, now let's have another look-see at our delicious food. Ooh, baby. So next what I'm gonna add is the fish. And the reason you add the fish at the very last is because you don't want the fish to turn into a puree, if you will. You still want to end up with large chunks of fish in the actual dish. Alright? So now would be the time to add 2 chicken stock cubes, which I've crushed. And of course we're going to give that a nice stir. A gentle stir. So let's have a little taste test. There we go. Ooh, honey. This is some good food, you guys. My word. So now we're gonna add the rice. And speaking of which, here we have the rice and the water. Now, the amount of water that you add to the rice, to measure that, it's very simple. You simply use your index finger. This is the way they taught us back home. Oh yes, this is very high tech. You're gonna put your finger into the bowl of rice, and if you can touch the top of the rice with the tip of your index finger, the level of water should reach the first digit of your index finger. And that's the amount of water that you add to the rice. Simple, right? All right, let's go ahead and do that. There we go. So of course we're gonna give this a good stir. Just like so. Now, it may not look like anything right now, but boo-boo, let me tell you, you will drool when you see the finished product. Now, as soon as you've added the rice, you're going to stir it into the rest of the ingredients. You are then going to turn up the heat. You're going to allow this to come to a boil until the water is evaporated. You're then going to turn down the flame and you're going to allow the rice to continue to steam until it's nice and tender. But before we do that, we have to add our dear friend Scotchy to the lot. So as you can see, the water is almost completely evaporated. We still have some here and over here, but now would be the perfect time to turn down the heat and allow the rice to steam until it's tender, which is what I'm gonna do right now. Give it a stir yet again. There we go. So of course, when it's all done, I'm gonna dazzle you with the final presentation. Now, speaking of the finished product, there you have it. Doesn't that look like a dish you just want to sink your teeth into? Baby, let me tell you, it was super duper delicious. Look at that salted beef, look at that smoked fish, look at that Scotch bonnet pepper and the fried plantain and the pickled cucumber. Baby, let me tell you, we had a blast. And by we, I mean my mom, my brother, my nephew, my neighbor. The single guy has to eat too, so myself included. I did share with people. Yes, I didn't eat all of this by myself. I ain't no pig, don't you know? But it was very, very good. And let me just say this about this dish. It is one of those dishes that you simply cannot prepare this for one person. You have to prepare this for at least 4 to 5 people because you will eat, you will eat, you will eat, and you will have a hard time putting the plate down. Okay? And by the way, if you're from the tropics, if you're from my country, when you live abroad and you cook this, it will definitely take you back to your homeland. It will definitely take you back to the yard, you know, where you're sitting under the mango tree or under the carambola tree, and you will have your delicious Djar Pesi Moksi Alesi. Baby, let me tell you, I had a flashback. I had many flashbacks. It was super duper delicious. Now you guys, I'm gonna love you and leave you. I hope you will give this a try, and I'm pretty sure you will find if not all of the ingredients in your neck of the woods. I'm pretty sure of that. Give it a try, you'll love it. Try something different, try something new, expand your horizons, and dazzle your family with something new on the dinner table. All right? All right. So let me thank you for watching the first episode of season 13 of Food and a Single Guy. Thank you so much for your viewership in general, and I will see you when I see you. Have a good one, you guys. Bye.